Hello everybody, welcome to your weekly forecast for Monday, November 8th through Sunday, November 14th. And a special hello to my subscribers. Thank you so much for continuing to support me. And if you are new to my channel or you're even like a repeat visitor, would you please take the time to subscribe to my channel right now? Also, check out my Ask Me a Question in the description box below there. It's for people who would only like to know maybe one thing about their chart. That's the only thing that they're curious about. They don't want their whole entire chart done. But for those of you who do, there's also a link there to my website where you can get more information on what I have to offer as far as charts go. And I would like to tell you that fees will be going up like January 1st. So if you wanted to order something, now would be like a really good time to do that. And you do have to allow about 2 weeks for, a completion, just because we're getting so close to the holidays. And so if you order it like the week before Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate, I don't know if you're going to get it or not in time. Okay, so I just thought I'd run that by you, all right? So, okay, here. Anyways, we have like 5 major aspects this week. And the first one isn't even until Wednesday, the 10th, okay? And there's 3 on one day, 3 on Wednesday, okay? Mercury in Scorpio conjuncts Mars in Scorpio. Boy, is that something, huh? That's okay. That's the me conversation. Okay. Also on that day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn in Aquarius, and Mars in Scorpio that day also squares Saturn in Aquarius. There's something kind of uncomfortable happening that day. Anyways, on Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio trines Neptune in Pisces, and on Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio opposes Uranus in Taurus. So maybe that's a continuation of whatever might have occurred on Wednesday. So we'll get right to it here, okay, for Aries. Let me get these. Okay, for Aries. On Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 8th house conjuncts Mars in Scorpio in your 8th house. At the same time, that Mercury again squares Saturn in your 11th house of Aquarius. And also that Mars, okay, in Scorpio there in your 8th house also squares Saturn in your 11th house of Aquarius. So your 8th house is money, big money house. Okay, it's shared resources, but it's also other people's resources and money. But it is partners, it's like jointly held property, like bank accounts, credit cards, stuff like that, or actual physical property like a home or land or something like that, or a business or something. So this could be something like that, but like your 11th house where you have the sign of Aquarius is your house of your friends. Okay, your friends and acquaintances, where you would normally go to hang out, any kind of organization that you belong to. But it's also your dreams, hopes, and wishes. It's your most sociable house, though. Okay, so you could be having one hell of an argument with somebody over money or something that a friend possibly borrowed from you, or you borrowed from them, or you could be possibly accusing each other back and forth about having something that belongs to the other, something like that. This could also be, if we're going to go with the dreams, hopes, and wishes thing here, goals, okay, a goal that you are trying to reach and just really striving for, may have had to have financial backing, don't they all, right? There's always a catch. Whatever you want to do, it seems like it always takes money, okay? So this could be one of those times where like the bank let you down, or they were supposed to give you a loan, or somebody was supposed to give you a loan, and they're either not going to do that at all now, or they are going to not give you the amount that you wanted. It would be less than what you needed, okay? First of all, this Mercury conjunct Mars is the me conversation, okay? Mercury is the big communicator. Mars is the me planet. It's the ego planet. And a lot of times, things like this is necessary, though, where you have to point out to somebody, and this is somebody, it could be a partner, romantic partner, business partner, or just someone that you're involved with. They either have something of yours, it could be equipment or something like that, or it could be money, okay? Or vice versa. You could have something of theirs. Okay, so this is really pointing out to somebody everything about yourself that's like good or whatever, or that's all the reasons why somebody should invest in you, or help you in with whatever it is that you're trying to do, okay? Now with this, the squares to Saturn just means that there could possibly be somebody there. Like Jupiter has been here also this whole year, okay, in Aquarius, traveling with Saturn. So Jupiter will be moving at the end of December into Pisces, so there will just be Saturn in your 11th house. And usually what this is there's some, it's either a friend or a new person that has entered your crowd. They're like an associate or an acquaintance or any kind of organization that you belong to. Some new person has come in and they just put a total damper on everything. They've blocked your every move, okay? Usually they're like jealous of you. That's why this person is doing that. Or they are trying to turn your friends against you, or trying to get you kicked out of the organization you belong to, okay? But you've had Jupiter here also at the same time, so this could have actually brought in a new person also, even with the other person being there, okay? So you could have like an evil person and a good person, sort of. I'm just saying that, okay? I don't think they're really evil, but they're just like a pain in the ass is what it is, and they are blocking your goal. You know, they're in the way. So that's kind of like what this is, okay? So they're blocking your funding, or people that you got a team together to help you with something, and it's dissipating now. Everybody's all scattered, you know. Nobody knows if they really want to do this now or not, or whatever, you know. Something like that. Okay, so like on Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 8th house trines Neptune transiting in your 12th house of Pisces. So this is really, really nice. Okay, your 12th house is behind the scenes, actions taken by you or someone else. It's secrets, it's confidences. You know, having Neptune here, this is, the 12th house is also the house of like charitable acts that are kind of like done in secret. It's not something that you go and, you know, broadcast to everybody. But so you could have been doing something behind the scenes all along, just possibly helping to take care of someone, even if it's a parent or a relative or a friend or something like that, but you're not really putting it out there for everyone to know about all of that. But at this time, I think somebody's going to show you some appreciation for being a kind-hearted person, and just for whatever reason. It could be just because, but it could also be because you've been helping someone, assisting someone behind the scenes, okay? And that's on this day that, you know, it looks like somebody's going to do the same for you. It could be financial, you know, they could pay you or give you money or something or other, okay? But they're doing it also behind the scenes. Now on Saturday, November 13th, Mercury again in your 8th house in Scorpio opposes Uranus transiting in Taurus in your 2nd house. So we're back to money again. There's really some kind of big issue going on here with the money. And you know what I want to get back to saying too, as far as these squares to Saturn in your 11th house, you know, if you do belong to some kind of organization and somebody there collected money for an upcoming, let's say, like trip that you were all supposed to take, or some kind of funding that everybody had to pitch in on, it could be one of those, where's the money? Where did it go? You know, you could catch someone like spending money, you know, that wasn't theirs, that was collected for even a charity or something like that. So that could be the big deal going on here. Now this Saturn opposed, Mercury opposing Uranus in your second house of income. Okay, this is how you earn your money. And this planet being in your second house brings a lot of unpredictability and sudden surprises. And that's kind of like what's going on here. You could even like discover that your credit card bills, you know, there's all these activity on them that you didn't do. You know, who did it? Did somebody steal your identity? Or did you give someone the use of your card, or just for like one thing, and all of a sudden they like ran up this big bill? Or what's going on with your bank accounts? You know, did a deposit of yours go in someone else's account by accident? You know, banks make big mistakes sometimes, let me tell you. So, but they don't do anything after they've like, you know, you're practically screaming in their face trying to correct it. And after they finally do, it's rarely even an apology as much as an apology. So, because they really don't want to admit that they're wrong. So that's something that's going on here. You could have a sudden loss or even a sudden gain on this day when it comes to money. So I am going to tell you, because you need hard aspects, I feel, in order to have a really nice win when it comes to speculation. Okay, some conjunctions will do, but trines, the aspect of a trine is too weak by itself. I don't care how good the planets are. It's just, you need that that power there. The opposition is, it's a tug of war between two planets. They're directly across from one another. So I'm going to tell you to play the lottery. I would actually start on Wednesday. Okay, like the rest of the week, if you could. Play something that has the largest, if you're not like a normal player, play something that has the largest jackpot. Okay, so for Taurus, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 7th house conjuncts Mars, also in Scorpio in your 7th house. And on the same day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn, transiting in your 10th house of Aquarius. And also on this day, Mars in Scorpio squares that Saturn too, okay, in your 10th house of Aquarius. So this is one hell of a day here. You know, you are aware that Scorpio is your opposite sign. All this is happening in your 7th house of close relationships, a romantic partner, a business partner, a close friend, anybody on this day, okay? This is also the house of competitors, you know, so it could be a competition in business, okay? Someone trying to take your clients from you, or your business or something or other. Or in romance, you know, someone vying for, you know, whoever it is that you're seeing. Or even, you know, if you're married, you may feel that, you know, somebody's coming after your spouse or whatever, you know. And just something or other is going on at this time, especially with Mercury conjunct Mars is the transit for a boastfulness, you know, kind of. But it's sometimes it occurs because you really have to do that very thing. You have to actually point out to people what you thought was quite obvious all along, okay, about yourself. And this is one of those, if it wasn't for me, kind of transits. You know, if it wasn't for me, this or that wouldn't have happened. And these are all good things that you're pointing out to whomever, okay? So if it wasn't for you, you know, you wouldn't have this, or we wouldn't have done that, or blah, blah, blah. Or you would have made a huge mistake trying to do whatever, you know. So these are all good things that you're pointing out about yourself, okay? But this square now to your 10th house of your career, okay? Your career and your outer persona, how the public views you publicly and how they speak about you. Now this is also personal, not just professional, but how you're seen, okay, how you're known by reputation, both professionally and personally. So something could be going on right now, like, you know, in regards to your career. If it is business, okay, if you have a business partner or anyone, like wherever it is that you work, or even if you're self-employed, a client could be doing this right now, you know, or even if you're retired and you don't work at all, there's still some factor going on here that is involving another person. Like kind of like getting in the way, getting in your way, you know, maybe something that you wanted to do within the business or your career, make some kind of move. You know, it's not having Saturn here, as long as it's going to be too, at the same time with Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter's still here right now, and that usually denotes a, a like a promotion of some kind. Okay, you still have time till the end of December to get that promotion if you haven't already. But if you have already, you know, somebody could like be acting up. You know, somebody could be jealous of your promotion, or doesn't feel that you should have got that promotion. They feel that it should have gone to them, or, you know, someone trying to block your moves as far as your career goes. Okay, now if this were if this was like romantic, it may have something to do with maybe your job is taking you away from them. Also, when Jupiter is in your 10th house, sometimes it means that your job may be requiring, your new position may require travel. Okay, so maybe something like that is going on, but either way, there's some kind of one hell of a conversation going on here this week, because by the time Saturday rolls around, but I'll get to that in a minute, okay? Because on Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 7th house trines Neptune, transiting in your 11th house of Pisces. So you got some nice calmness going on here on this day. And this is your 11th house, where you have Pisces, is your most sociable house. This is your friends and acquaintances, where you would normally go to hang out. It's your most sociable house. It's also social media if you're not going out in person. But it's like getting together with your friends, you know, and with you, bringing your partner, a romantic partner, or it could even be like a business meeting kind of thing if you're going somewhere with clients, you know, but or you are just like maybe taking a friend with you to maybe even meet some of your new friends, or meet not just a new friend, but a friend that they've never met before, something or other. But this is a very nice calm transit, okay, because the next day, on Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 7th house opposes the planet Uranus transiting in your 1st house, okay, in Taurus. So this is really, this is like flip out mode, kind of, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter who flips out first, but it's you know, someone like could even be baiting you, you know, trying to get you to act up, or, you know, just angry, try to get you angry for some reason or other. You know, I've mentioned many times, you know, when Mars is in your 7th house, it's directly across from your rising sign or whatever planet you have, no matter what sign it's in. Okay, everybody has a Mars opposition sooner or later. But people come out of the woodwork to like screw with you when this transit is here, when Mars is here. Okay, so this is the house of open enemies, the 7th house also, and competition. So I would have to say that this is when somebody would, you know, maybe say something or other. Could even be like back to this whole schmeal on Wednesday, like with your reputation. They could have even started some kind of rumor, excuse me, about you, or are trying to influence anyone, the public, whatever, into thinking about you in a certain way, okay? And I believe this is when you know, you'll either confront them with it or they'll confront you. But if this is romantic, this is also something that may possibly not be going well within your relationship, and now's the time that you want to change that, or they want to change it. You know, there was a new moon on the 4th here. That's when a lot of this stuff, new stuff, was supposed to happen. Well, maybe nobody likes it the way it is now, right? And if this is business, then, you know, it's back to what kind of changes are you going to make in business. You could be dealing with somebody, a business partner that's like really aggressive and just is trying to move in and kind of like take over the whole business. Okay? So for Gemini, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 6th house conjuncts Mars, also in your 6th house of Scorpio. On the same day, Mercury again in Scorpio squares Saturn transiting in your 9th house of Aquarius. And also on this day, Mars in Scorpio in your 6th house squares that Saturn also in Aquarius in your 9th house. So there's all kinds of stuff going on in your 6th house, which is pretty much like the workplace, the kind of work that you do, your co-workers, your work schedule, the very place or building where you work. Even if you're working from home, you're still in contact with people who are more than likely working physically in the workplace. So Mercury conjunct Mars is that aspect where people talk about their favorite subject at this time, which is themselves. Okay, so it seems like you are like standing your ground or having to point out to your co-workers or a boss even, because these are squares after a while. Okay, squares to your 9th house where you have Aquarius, you have Saturn transiting there right now, but you also have Jupiter still transiting there too, till the end of December. So 9th house is many things when it's combined in an aspect, though, with the 6th house. I always go with higher learning. Okay, it is the house of knowledge and higher learning. It's also foreign anything. Okay, so having Jupiter here, the natural ruler of the 9th house, and Jupiter and Sagittarius ruling anything foreign. Okay, foreign country, foreign people, cultures, people who live at a distance. This is long distance everything. So you may have had contact with, let's say, like a client who lives at a distance or is from another country or completely different background than not just yours, but your co-workers too, you know. So maybe you were dealing more with them than anyone else was. Okay, so something could be coming up with that, you know. Maybe there's other people that want you know, excuse me, a shot at also like the same kind of setup that you have, you know, or maybe they want to deal with this client instead of you, or anything really that could possibly be going on at work is like it's really hitting the fan right now. Okay, there's a big upheaval. Okay, and it could be about who knows more, who is more qualified, who's people always go for that whole seniority thing a lot of times, but half the time these people don't even really do much work because they do have seniority. That's the way they view it in their mind. It's not like they have like tons of experience because they've been with the company longer than everyone else, you know. That a lot of people feel that gives them the right to like slack off or whatever because of their seniority. So you could have something like that going on here right now. Now there was a new moon in this whole area on the 4th, so new something could have been introduced into the workplace, even if it's a new schedule. Okay, it could be a new person, new client, but a lot of times it's a schedule change or some kind of policy that maybe everybody's like, what? You know, I'm not going to do this, or I'm leaving, or I quit. You know, it could be something like that. It could be something that won't even be implemented until like January, but they're telling you about it now. So everybody's like in an uproar, okay? Now, on Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 6th house trines Neptune transiting in your 10th house of Pisces. So your 10th house is your house of your career, okay? Your what you do for a living, your livelihood. It's also your outer persona and how people, like the public, views you and speaks about you publicly, how you're known by reputation. Okay, even personally though, not just professionally, personally. So you've got this very nice trine going on here from your 6th house. So somebody's in your corner as far as the work goes, you know, what should be done, or, you know, at least viewing you as maybe someone who can like figure this whole, you know, mess out, whatever could possibly be going on at work. Okay, so that's nice. You know, it's not like a very strong aspect though to hold everything like together, because on Saturday, November 13th, Mercury again in Scorpio in your 6th house opposes the planet Uranus transiting in your 12th house of Taurus. So your 12th house is behind the scenes, okay? It's the house of secrets and actions taken by you or someone else behind the scenes. Okay, it's also your house of dreams, your subconscious mind, all these other things. But this is like your 12th house is directly across from your 6th house, okay, of the workplace and everything, where this opposition is going on. And I'd have to say that somebody's going to blurt out some kind of big secret at work, or you're going to find out somehow or other. Let's hope it's not one of your secrets, okay? But something like that, I think, is going to come out on this day. Whether you're the one that, you know, coughs it up, or, you know, someone else does. But that's, you know, these two planets together bring about really unexpected conversations, or unexpected, like, blabbering, you know, just like spitting something out or saying something that you hadn't planned on saying. Okay, so you might want to keep that in mind, because you may be really tempted to just really tell somebody a thing or two. Okay. For Cancer, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 5th house conjuncts Mars, also in Scorpio in your 5th house. On the same day, Mercury in Scorpio in your 5th house squares Saturn, transiting in your 8th house of Aquarius. And on the same day, Mars in Scorpio in your 5th house also squares that Saturn in Aquarius in your 8th house. So here we are now. All this stuff's happening in your 5th house of fun. It's supposed to be fun, right? Well, you know what? Looks to me like fun is getting real expensive, okay? Especially if you did something like went to a place that just is there, kind of exists just to take your money, okay? Like a casino or something like that, okay? But I believe somebody is going to be complaining about all the money that either you're spending, or you're complaining about all the money you're spending on everybody, or even if it's like a family thing and you've got the kids with you and whatever, you know, it's all just like every time you turn around, you're just spending money, okay? That's like, you know, what's going on here. Just because your 8th house is a money house, it's other people's money and resources, but it's also shared resources with someone, like a spouse or something, or a partner of some kind or whatever. But it could also be where it was agreed that, you know, whoever's doing whatever with you, that was for entertainment or for fun. Could even be like a little day trip or something like that, you know, but it just turns out to, you know, they were supposed to go halfers with you or something or other, or everybody was supposed to pitch in, and it seems like that's not happening now. Okay, so that's what this is, kind of. Or, okay, this being the house of romance, okay, a Mercury conjunct Mars is the aspect where people talk about their favorite subject, which is themselves, okay? And they point out all these wonderful things about themselves, okay? But they're more than likely true, what they're saying, okay? So as far as romance goes, somebody, if it's you or if you're seeing someone at this time, this is also for a creative project though too, not just romance, but they could be pointing out everything that they've done for you, or you've done for them, or everything that they've contributed to the relationship or to the creative project, or whatever, you know, that if it wasn't for them, or if it wasn't for you, you know, this or that one. Okay, Cancer, sorry about that. I got cut off. That's what happens. I know it always happens to your sign usually, huh? Anyways, so we're back to these aspects in your 5th house, right? So that's pretty much what is going on here, you know, is just money and having fun. And, you know, are you spending too much money, or you know, was someone else supposed to, I don't know, contribute maybe a little bit more, or just, you know, why is the whole thing occurring is what it is, because it looks like it's, whatever you're doing is something that was planned ahead of time, possibly. So why is all this stuff coming up now, right? So like on the next, like on Friday, okay, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 5th house trines Neptune transiting in Pisces in your 9th house. So you get this little reprieve here, you know, or whatever, where you have a nice day. Okay, now your 9th house is a long distance communication and travel. You know, could be, you know, something, well, it's also like the house of higher learning and adventure. Okay, so maybe on this day, you know, if it is, you know, communication, whatever, maybe you are actually hearing from someone who does live at a distance. 9th house is also foreign people, foreign anything, foreign country. So maybe you hear from someone who does live in another country. Could be romantic, you know, but it could be just like friends, but it could be also, again, a creative collaboration of some kind. But anyways, if you're still on like some kind of adventure, okay, where you're out to have fun, okay, you may do something like, let's say, like go to a museum or some place where you may accidentally learn something, okay, because the 9th house is also the house of higher learning and adventure. So you can actually have fun on this day, okay, because like on Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 5th house opposes the planet Uranus transiting in Taurus in your 11th house, okay? So your 11th house is your most sociable house. It's actually social media also. So this could actually occur online on social media. It doesn't necessarily have to happen in person. But what's happening here is Mercury is the big communicator, okay? The planet Uranus is the element of surprise, okay? And sudden occurrences happening, like within your 11th house of your friends, your group of friends, where you would normally go to hang out, any kind of organization that you belong to. But it's like your friends, okay, or being out somewhere, possibly socializing with your friends, and maybe even running into a friend that, or somebody who used to be a friend that did you wrong possibly in some way, and you never thought you'd see them again, or you know, you never really got to put in your 2 cents there when you wanted to tell them a thing or two. So this is like one of those times where it just, you know, just pours out of you with this Mercury opposed Uranus, okay? That's what happens, is you end up like either saying something you had not planned on saying at all, or just getting it all off your chest because you're finally given the opportunity to do just that. And the person who's on the receiving end of this is just like, you know, but I would have to say, I mean, if it's you, if you're the one doing this, the great communication, you know, I would have to say they deserve it. They probably had it coming, you know, or you wouldn't have, like, you know, felt this need to just say all this stuff, right? So, you know, it's something to keep in mind. This is occurring from your 5th house of romance, though, okay? to your 11th house of friends. It could also be your 5th house of a creative project to your 11th house of friends. So this could even be, you know, let's say like if you were in a band with someone at one time, or there's like some other form of art or something like that that you collaborated on, and maybe this person just walked away with it or took all the credit or something or other, okay? So for, let's see here, Leo. On Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 4th house conjuncts Mars, also in Scorpio in your 4th house, and on the same day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn transiting in your 7th house of Aquarius, and also on this day, Mars in Scorpio also squares this Saturn in Aquarius in your 7th house. So we've got your 4th house of your home and your family and the people you live with. Even if you live alone, okay, it's still like your physical place where you live. It's your home. Okay, it's also your early childhood, your background, whatever, but it's your personal life too. And like, you know, it's more or less like family or whatever. A lot of times, especially with Mars being here, it gives you a lot of energy and to do like make these big sweeping changes in your home, like remodel or something like that, or you're doing something a little bit different here. Okay, so like your 7th house where you have Aquarius and Saturn right now, but also Jupiter transiting here too, okay, till the end of December, is your house of close relationships. This is partnerships, business partnership, a romantic partnership, or even just a close friend. So there could be something going on here where maybe a partner, or if it's romantic, maybe they are, you two are moving in together, it's not going so well, or someone is moving out even. That's either way, it's not going so well, okay? This Mercury conjunct Mars on this day, these two planets together make you want to talk about yourself. Okay, Mercury is the big communicator. Mars is the me ego planet. So a lot of times though, people have to do this very thing. They have to point out things about themselves, okay, that they're all good things, right? Trying to tell people or correct them in some way. Usually what it is, it's one of those conversations where you say something like, if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't even have this home. Or if it wasn't for me, you know, this or that wouldn't have happened, or would have happened, or blah, blah, blah. But it's all good things, okay? So you may be having to point out to a partner, you know, if it's romance, you know, you might be having to tell them, you know what, this is my home. And this is the way I do things here. I live here. This is mine, you know, whatever. So it just could like come down to something like that. But you're really letting, like, more or less putting someone in their place, you know, but they're trying to get you to do something, it seems, anyways. They're a little bit pushy to do something in regards to your lifestyle, the way you're living, where you live, I don't know. That'll be coming up again in a minute here. But anyways, on Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 4th house trines Neptune transiting in your 8th house of Pisces. So at least you got something nice and relaxing here on this day, where your 8th house, where you have Neptune, this is other people's resources and money. Okay, and I've mentioned many times here before about always keeping an eye on your bank accounts, your credit card statements, all that, because Neptune here does govern illusion and fraud, even a lie, the big lie, whatever, you know, it clouds over your ability to see. But this 8th house is also the house of one of the houses of psychic ability. Okay, so having this planet here, I'd have to say, has made you a lot more sensitive, and this part of you is really developing very nicely. Okay, so maybe that's even what was going on that Wednesday, November 10th, with all those aspects. Maybe you discovered someone that you're close with, you know, a close relationship. Maybe somebody did something with your money or your accounts or your property, okay? Something like that could have gone down, okay? Eighth house is partners, like property that you own with someone else. It's shared property also, okay? So, and this is like bank accounts though too. Bank accounts, credit cards, but actual physical property. So we could go right back to your home here, the home. So maybe somebody's fighting with you over property. Okay, so like on Saturday, November 13th, okay, Mercury in Scorpio in your 4th house opposes the planet Uranus transiting in your 10th house of Taurus. So this is like really typical, okay, because your 4th house is your home life and your private life, and your 10th house is your career and your livelihood. So this is kind of typical of like a family member or someone very close to you arguing with you about what you do for a living, or why aren't you, you were supposed to change jobs, or you were going to do this, or you were going to do that, or something about your career, you know. But these two planets together bring about a very unexpected conversation, or someone just like flipping out on someone. Okay, it could be you really flipping out on, it could even be a boss, or you know, somebody, a higher up or something like that, or the other way around even, you know. They could even say something to you that was just really out of line, you know, a little bit too familiar with you when they're not like even a friend, especially if it's like a colleague, you know, somebody you work with, you know, they're really, really out of line. So you could come back with something that they're really surprised about. They can't believe that you would like more or less put them in their place. Okay, but just keep in mind that this is a very unexpected conversation where you say something you had never planned on saying. Okay, it just comes bursting out of your mouth, or someone says that to you. But I really think you're the one that's acting on this. Okay, and this is in regards to not even just like your livelihood or your career, but your public life too. Okay, because your 10th house is also how you're known by reputation, even personally, not just professionally. Okay, so for Virgo, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 3rd house conjuncts Mars, also in Scorpio in your 3rd house. And on the same day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn transiting in Aquarius in your 6th house. And also on the same day, Mars in Scorpio also squares Saturn in Aquarius in your 6th house. So you've got all these planets, okay, in your 3rd house of big communication house. This is the house of communication, ruled by Mercury, okay. So having Mercury here even in aspect, it just means that you may be doing an awful lot of running around your own area, or you're doing, you're participating more in things within your neighborhood, or just frequenting businesses or something or other that you don't normally do, okay? Mercury conjunct Mars, though, is the big, you know, aspect for someone wanting or having or feeling the need to talk about themselves, okay? And point out certain things to people that they feel they need to know, okay? Again, Mercury being the 3rd house of big communication and travel house, okay? It's also the house of your siblings, your cousins, but it's regular postal mail, email, any kind of message, you know, text message or voicemail or something, phone call, whatever. I believe that, you know, you're going to get something like this on this day. You either feel like you have to tell somebody a thing or two and put them in their place. This is in regards to, I'd have to say, work, okay, because the squares are coming from your 3rd house to your 6th house of the workplace and the kind of work that you do. Okay, your co-workers, work schedule, all of that stuff. Okay, you know, Jupiter is still there, so there's still some very nice things going on there at the same time. So something could be going on at this time where, you know, someone's trying to tell you, you know, our schedule's changing, or we're going to start doing this or whatever, this way or that way, or you may find that a co-worker got a better assignment or something than you did, and maybe you feel, or the other way around, you got the assignment and they didn't, you know. And you're having to, like, point out to people, like, how good you are, more or less, at your job or whatever it is that you do, you know, for a living. Even if you don't work at all or you're retired, you're still going to tell somebody something on this day. This is the transit where you put somebody in their place because they need to hear it, kind of. You know, they need to, this could even be talking with a sibling or a cousin, you know, letting them know all that you do, you know, for the family, or how you've had to take care of something that more or less was their, you know, place to take care of, you know, but it's all coming out now on this day. And you could actually get something kind of nasty in the mail even, or one of those real curt kind of short messages that somebody leaves for you, or even sends you a text message, you know. So that could, like, start you off, you know. That's what kind of gets you started, and you just, like, let her rip. Okay, on Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 3rd house trines Neptune transiting in your 7th house of Pisces. So this is like a very nice transit, though, to your 7th house of close relationships, business partner, romantic partner, close friend, something like that. It looks like whatever you do on this day, if you're in conversation, goes very smoothly. And or if you are actually doing something together with someone, it looks like it's something like enjoyable or whatever, fun or something like that, like meeting for lunch or dinner or something or other. On Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 3rd house opposes Uranus transiting in your 9th house of Taurus. So these are the 9th and 3rd house are the big communication and travel houses, but 9th house is long distance, okay? 3rd house is local. 9th house is also the house of legal matters, media, publishing, higher learning, travel, usually long distance or foreign travel. It's the house of philosophy, religious and spiritual beliefs, and just culture, everything. House of adventure. So these two planets together, Mercury and Uranus in opposition, brings about a very sudden and unexpected communication that you were not planning on hearing or saying. A lot of times I'd have to say it's probably you are the one that are just blurting out something at this time that you had not planned on saying. Okay, and a lot of times it could be like the truth, you know, or actually still kind of like putting somebody in their place. We're back to that. So it could actually come from whatever happens on Wednesday. But you could get, again, some kind of phone call or message that is very off the wall, kind of, or somebody just leaving you a message telling you off, and you're like, what? You know, not even sure what's going on there, right? So just expect a very, kind of like I said, sudden and unexpected communication from somebody that, I don't know, just doesn't make any sense. So, for Libra, excuse me, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 2nd house conjuncts Mars in Scorpio in your 2nd house. And also on this day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn transiting in Aquarius in your 5th house. And also on this day, Mars in Scorpio in your second house, also square Saturn transiting in Aquarius in your 5th house, okay? So, of course, second house is money, okay? This whole thing, like with Mercury conjunct Mars, this is the transit where Mercury's the big communicator, Mars is the ego planet, and you get these two together, and all they want to do is talk about themselves, okay? Excuse me. But usually, I'd have to say under these aspects that maybe it's necessary in a way. You know, your second house is your house of earned income, money, okay? How you earn your money, your valuables that you own, possessions, okay? Stuff like that. Now, these squares from both Mercury and Mars in your second house to your 5th house of romance and speculation, children, creativity, fun. It's the house of fun, okay? You have Saturn and Jupiter transiting here. So Jupiter's here up until like the end of December. When it leaves, all you'll have here is Saturn. So you're going to have Saturn in your 5th house of romance, which sometimes makes like romance maybe a little bit boring, or it's the last thing on your mind, just because, you know, maybe you need a break or something, or it does mean that you're looking for somebody a little bit more stable and reliable. You know, not that you've had like nutty people in your life, but you may have. Okay, you may be dealing with someone who's very like unpredictable right now. Okay, now these squares from your second house to your 5th house just means that you may feel that you are spending too much time on a good time. Okay, or a person, someone you love, or romance, or a creative project right now. You know, there's it's hard to do anything without having to spend money. You know what I mean? Or if there was some kind of something coming up, some form of entertainment that you had planned on doing. You know, everything is costing money. But what you're doing here with this Mercury conjunct Mars is you're pointing out to whomever. Okay, we'll say a romantic partner or a creative partner that, you know, this is the if it wasn't for me transit. Okay, so this is you saying if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have gotten this far, or we wouldn't have done this, or we wouldn't have done that, or this would have happened instead of this, you know. So, and these are all good things, and usually they're facts. You know what I mean? It's not like really just your opinion. You are actually having to point out to somebody all the money that you've spent, or the second house is not just your valuables, it's your own values, you know. So you could be pointing out everything that you've put into the relationship even, or the collaboration if it's a creative project, or if this is even in regards to a child, because your 5th house is also children. Okay, all the things that you've done. Okay, so this may not be like a real fun day, but it gets, well, I don't want to say it gets better. That's being sarcastic, actually. We'll go to like Friday, November 12th, okay? The Sun in Scorpio in your second house trines Neptune transiting in your 6th house of Pisces. So your 6th house is the kind of work that you do. If you're an artist of any kind, it really gets quite a boost here with having Neptune in your 6th house. It does bring about kind of like a Salvador Dali kind of look to it. You know, it's really different, kind of out there possibly. But, you know, the second house is earned income, so you're doing something, you know. Normally, you know, you would be working or whatever and being on the receiving end of money from work that you've done. But on this day, you know, it could be something a little different. It could be something that maybe you do on the side, but to me it looks like it could be something creative, like if it's art of some kind, okay? On Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your second house opposes the planet Uranus transiting in your 8th house of Taurus. So both of these are the money houses. Second house is earned income. 8th house is shared resources and money, actually, or other people's money and resources. So we're back to like whatever started up on Wednesday. You know, we're like back to that. But Mercury is the big communication planet. Uranus is the planet that brings about sudden and unexpected occurrences. Okay, Mercury though too could actually be moving. You know, it is the travel planet and whatever. But I would have to say that I'd really keep an eye on my bank accounts and my credit cards, especially if it came to a romance or a creative project that I was doing with someone, or even something involving children or someone else's children if you don't have any of your own. This is very sudden and unexpected something or other happening in your money, okay? And it looks like it's happening like in your 8th house, okay? You could be the one, or someone could be the one that is doing this very off the wall, very sudden move when it comes to resources, okay? So if you, excuse me, or if you are married or in some kind of relationship with someone and they have access to whatever it is that you have, and you have jointly held accounts or jointly held whatever, even if it's just like, you know, your belongings and stuff, I'd really keep an eye on all of that. I'd make sure I don't know, checked everything out, make sure that your bank accounts are the way you left them, you know, are they the way you remember them? Same thing with credit cards or anything, just really keep an eye on something like that right now. Okay, for Scorpio, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your first house conjuncts Mars, also in your first house in Scorpio. And also on this day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn transiting in your 4th house of Aquarius. And also on this day, Mars in Scorpio squares Saturn in Aquarius. Okay, along with Mercury. So you've got a conjunction of Mercury and Mars in your first house, which means that you are yakking away, possibly, okay, about yourself. You are pointing out to whomever, more than likely a partner, okay, a romantic partner, business partner, close friend, or something or other, that you feel the need to point out to them all the good things that you brought to the relationship or something. Things about yourself that if it wasn't for you, this or that wouldn't have happened in your relationship. And these are all good things, okay? But this transit is when people like to talk about themselves, okay? Themselves, because they are pointing out the good things that they've done, or they want recognition or be acknowledged or given credit for something that they've done, or the way they are, even like their personality, what kind of person they are, they're a good person or whatever, you know. So these squares to your 4th house of your home life, your family, the physical place where you actually live, okay, and the people you live with, a roommate or family, or even if you live alone. Okay, it's also your personal life, your background, your childhood, all that good stuff, okay? But there could be somebody, you know, right now you do have Saturn transiting here, but you also have Jupiter at the same time. So Jupiter will be here till the end of December. Then it moves, and all you're going to have is Saturn here. So you could have some kind of setup that's very like depressing or very restrictive wherever it is that you live. Okay, maybe you live in a place where if it's an apartment complex, you know, there's all these weird rules and you're not allowed to do this and that, and I don't know, your neighbors are too much. You can't stand living there anymore. Or someone just plopped themselves on your doorstep and they're living with you, even though they were only supposed to stay like a day or two. Well, they're still there. right? Or you are taking care of like an ill family member, possibly. They're living with you. Your parents, one parent or a relative, or even a friend. Whatever. Some of this stuff could just like be too much for you. It's getting to you, you know. So this is one of those days where you just like let her rip and tell people pretty much like what they really need to know, okay? On Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your first house trines Neptune, transiting in your fifth house of Pisces. It's a very nice trine from your first house of your personality to your fifth house of romance. Okay, romance and creativity and fun, speculation. You know, having Neptune here really helps you as far as creativity goes. As far as romance goes, there's a possibility you're not seeing someone really for what they truly are. Probably sense that you're giving them attributes they don't even have. But I don't know, as long as you're having fun, what? You know, what are you going to do? But if it's a serious relationship, maybe this is when you start to kind of like realize that whatever it is about this person, that you see that is actually true, not something you're imagining. Okay, so this is actually a good day, kind of like for romance. So on Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your first house opposes Uranus transiting in Taurus in your seventh house. Okay, so this is the opposition between your first house, you, and your seventh house of close relationships, where the planet Uranus has been transiting here, bringing about very sudden and unexpected things happening in your close relationships. Okay, so this is one of those days. But with this Mercury here, Mercury does bring about a very sudden communication, a very unexpected communication. I'd have to say it's coming from you. You are like spitting out something that you had not planned on saying. Really, it could be like an argument. It could even be like a normal conversation. Starts off normal conversation and ends up into a screaming match. So you just really don't know, okay? This is something that's occurring in a romantic relationship, a business relationship, or like just with a close friend. So it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so for Sagittarius, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 12th house conjuncts Mars in Scorpio in your 12th house. And on the same day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn, transiting in Aquarius in your 3rd house. And on the same day, Mars in Scorpio in your 12th house squares that Saturn also in Aquarius in your 3rd house. So you have all this stuff happening in your 12th house of behind the scenes actions taken by you or someone else, or excuse me, it's also the house of your subconscious mind and dreams. Also the house of confinement, like prisons of some kind or other. That's why the 12th house is sometimes called the house of self-undoing, meaning that you can drive yourself crazy, okay, by just like thinking too much about whatever. But it's also truly the house of like a prison, or anyone who is like confined to some place that they can't get out of, or they need to be there, whatever. Like a nursing home or something like that. This is the house of charity too. So a lot of times maybe you're involved with someone or are helping someone who is confined even to their home, okay, because they can't get out, whatever. So, you know, you could be involved in something like that right now. However, okay, this, the transit of Mercury conjunct Mars is the, like, typical transit of Mercury being the communicator and Mars being the ego planet. Usually means that this is when like you like to talk about yourself, okay? You sometimes feel that, you know, you have to remind people things about yourself. It's a time like when you want credit where credit is due. You want acknowledged for you know, just even being yourself. But a lot of times this is when you tell people, you know, if it wasn't for me, you'd still be sitting at, you know, wherever doing nothing. You know, if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have been able to do this, or we wouldn't have gotten this far even, you know, something or other. But it's a time when you like have to point out to people the things about you that you've done. These are good things, you know. It's not like you're being egotistical or anything. It's just that you kind of have to put somebody in their place in a way. Could even be somebody that you are, like I said, helping someone that is confined somewhere to a place, you know. Maybe they're leaning on you a little bit too much, and there are other people that they have in their life that they could depend on. However, they're throwing it all your way, right? Expecting you to do whatever you've always done for them. You know, you got to you kind of put the brakes on that in a way. You know, this square to your third house, okay, where you have Saturn right now, and Jupiter is also here, okay. But your third house is like your house of your neighbors, your neighborhood, your siblings, your cousins, old classmates even. But it's a big communication and travel house. This is the house of like regular postal mail, email. This is an internet house. This is a very sociable house. If you did finally get your, you know, website or podcast or YouTube channel together and out there now, you know, this is like what's going on. You're probably finishing touches on something anyways right now while planets are in your 12th house before they move into your first house, okay, where you'll be like out there on the scene. But there's something going on here. In fact, because it is 12th house stuff with this Mercury conjunct Mars, you may be like throwing your weight around in some way or other. Maybe you're not even letting people know that you are. Maybe you're speaking up on behalf of someone else, okay? Or you are, again, back to somebody like relying on you way too much, okay? You are preventing that from continuing, okay? So you are actually telling them, you know what, I can't do this or I can't do that anymore. And this could be a sibling or a cousin or a neighbor, okay? Just because the square is happening to, like I said, your third house. Could be anything, but there's another aspect coming up, but I'll get to that in a minute, okay? On Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 12th house trines Neptune transiting in your 4th house of Pisces. So this is very nice. Your 4th house is your home life, your family, the very place, though, where you live, your home and the property surrounding it. It's your past and your childhood, your personal life. So something possibly that you may do in regards to your home, or you know, something maybe even that you're thinking of purchasing for your home that enhances it in some way or other. Maybe it's a little bit of a secret. Maybe it's something you're going to spring on your family or whomever you live with, like for the holidays. You're going to do something or bring something into the home that that like everyone would like, okay? On Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 12th house opposes the planet Uranus transiting in your 6th house of Taurus. So your 6th house is the workplace, your co-workers, your work schedule, the kind of work that you do, the actual building where you work. So I'd have to say that, you know, whatever was going on behind the scenes, okay, with all this stuff going on in Scorpio in your 12th house, well, this opposition's here now. And there's like I think, a big secret coming out at work in regards to somebody you work with, your company, the kind of work that you're doing, a client possibly, but it's probably, I would have to say, a co-worker maybe. but it's a secret. You know, something's happening behind the scenes. All these planets are in your 12th house of secrets. Okay, so it could be, you know, something that, you know, you have a tendency to maybe, you know, accidentally possibly reveal something maybe that you had not planned on telling anybody. It could be something about yourself even, maybe something you were going to let everybody know about it at another time. But you could blurt something out at work, okay, that maybe a lot of people didn't know, they're surprised about, or something or other, you know. It doesn't necessarily have to be about you. It could be about like a coworker or a boss or something or other. But these two planets together just kind of means like a very unexpected communication or conversation, or just saying something you had not planned on saying, because it's a secret. But it isn't a secret anymore, right? Not after you just blurted it out, right? Okay, so you might want to keep that in mind. So for Capricorn, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 11th house conjuncts Mars in Scorpio in your 11th house. And also on this day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn transiting in your 2nd house of Aquarius. And on the same day, Mars in Scorpio also squares Saturn transiting in your 2nd house of Aquarius. So all this stuff's going on in your 11th house of your friends and sociability. This is socializing online even, but it's also in person if you're able to get together with your friends. But it's your friends and acquaintances in any kind of organization that you belong to. It's also your house of dreams, hopes, and wishes, you know, so maybe some, you know, people, your friends or whatever, were going to help you either celebrate or do something or other that, I don't know, you probably have been planning on doing. You have both, not just Saturn in your 2nd house, you also have Jupiter here up until the end of December. So you still had some expansion and opportunities going on while Jupiter was here. So this could be one of those times where, you know, maybe you had even planned an event for yourself and you invited like all these people to come and attend. It could be like a launch of some kind, you know, that whatever it is that you're doing. And maybe it's going well, but people that you thought would be there or were there to contribute or donate to your cause or whatever, or purchase, you know, something that maybe you've created or something or other. It could be some kind of function or whatever that's going on. But it's involving your group of friends, okay, and money, okay, all this stuff happening in your 2nd house. So it's either they're becoming too expensive for you, or they want you to do something that is too expensive. You don't feel like spending the money, or you belong to some kind of organization that's turning out to be like not so much fun, a little bit hoity-toity, too hoity-toity for you, you know, and they always want money. They're always asking you for money or to contribute, do this, do whatever. Anyways, Mercury conjunct Mars is the aspect where people usually like to talk about themselves. Okay, so this is the aspect where people say things like, if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have done this, or we wouldn't have gotten this far, or you would have still been doing that, and instead of what we're doing now, which is much better. Okay, so this is a time where you like point out to people all the wonderful things about yourself. Okay, it's almost like when Mars is in your own sign, you have to remind people. Okay, so this is one of those times where you want acknowledged for, you know, you want credit for whatever you've done, you know, or participated in, or, you know, whatever. Okay, so this is just like one of those times. And you know, it's almost like, too, you put somebody in their place, somebody that you know socially. This could even occur like on social media, okay? On Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 11th house trines Neptune transiting in your 3rd house of Pisces. So this is like, I think, a very nice, like communication of some kind, or contact with like an old friend, possibly an old classmate. Could be someone from an old neighborhood where you used to live, but you could run into somebody more out if you're out somewhere, but you could also run into them online in social media. Okay, so you like renew a friendship or something. On Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 11th house opposes Uranus transiting in your 5th house of Taurus, okay? So this is a real doozy, this aspect, because Mercury is the communicator here, right? And the planet Uranus is the very sudden and unexpected event, okay? So I would have to say that I don't know, you could even run into an old flame or something and, I don't know, kind of say something or other and have it out with them. You know, maybe they did something that you never got to, like, ask them about or tell them about or argue with them about. And you now run into them by accident or something out when you're out, or you run into them even on social media, you know. But what this is unplanned communication. This is you possibly saying something you thought you would never say to anybody, or you had never planned on saying, okay? And it's very unexpected and very, could even be shocking, who knows. You know, it could be pretty funny though too, you know, considering it's happening in your house of your friends and the house of romance and creativity though too. This could even be in regards to some kind of project that you were involved in with other people collaborating on. You know, maybe someone tried to take credit for your work, or pushed you out of the whole thing, you know, something like that. But it's very just like having stuff blurred out of your mouth that you never intended on saying, but you probably feel a lot better after you do. So for Aquarius, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 10th house conjuncts Mars in Scorpio in your 10th house. And on the same day, Mercury squares Saturn in your 1st house in Aquarius. And on the same day, Mars again in Scorpio squares Saturn in your 1st house in Aquarius. So you've got a square from Mercury and Mars in Scorpio to Saturn in your 1st house, plus a conjunction of Mercury and Mars together in your 10th house of your career, your outer persona, how the public sees you and speaks about you publicly. It's how you're known by reputation, professionally and personally. It's like your most public house. Okay, so this Mercury conjunct Mars, if I were you, first of all, this aspect brings out the me kind of communication. This is usually when people talk about themselves, you know, and they're usually having to point out to people all of their good traits, you know, even if it's just about their personality, but usually about their accomplishments or something that they've done. They want acknowledged or given credit for something they've done, or even just for like being the kind of person that they are. If you were a politician, you know, you'd be really laying it on thick right now. But this Mercury conjunct Mars, usually in your 10th house, is sometimes having to have a conversation, let's say like with a colleague or a higher up, or the company that you work for or something, and really having to point out to them why you're worth what you're worth, you know, why you deserve a better position or better pay or something like that, or better benefits or perks or something or other, you know. And all of these things, though, are true. When you're saying these things, you're not doing it to be boastful. You're more or less like standing up for yourself. So you might be having to feel like you have to do that right now. The square to Saturn in your 1st house just means that It might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable while you're doing this, or someone may try to make you feel that way. You know, like I said, a colleague or a higher up or somebody like that, you know, could make you feel like, I don't know, like I said, uncomfortable, but I wouldn't if I were you, you know. But while you're doing these things, while you're saying these things, you may be thinking something like that, like, ooh, I shouldn't, maybe they think I'm telling them off, you know, and this is the boss, you know, or whatever. But not really. I mean, you wouldn't be doing these or saying these things if it wasn't necessary, so something must have come up, right? For you to feel that you have to even correct somebody. Maybe somebody was taking credit for your work, even. Okay, so whatever, you know, this is also, if that's not happening in your career, okay, this is your public life. So if you're on social media, you know, you could be in like some kind of little bit of a rant with someone, which is very easy to do on any form of social media, right? I mean, people just like join these groups just to do that, I swear. Okay, so, you know, it could be something like that even. But, or you could hear something about yourself that's incorrect, you know, anything. It doesn't even have to be like gossip or anything. Somebody could say, you did this or you did that, you know, I don't know, when you guys were growing up or something or other, you know, and you're just like, no, that never happened. That wasn't me. That was my brother or my sister or whatever. Okay, but this is your time to make a correction. Okay, on Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 10th house trines Neptune transiting in your 2nd house, Pisces. So we're back to your 2nd house is earned income, how you earn your money. And I've mentioned here before, you know, about having Neptune here to keep an eye on your valuables, your money, to be sure that you're not having certain taxes taken out or any kind of deductions coming out of your paycheck or whatever it is, however you have money coming in, because even if you don't work at all or you're retired or something, you still have to have money to live on, so you got to make sure that nothing's unusual or different is occurring, okay, with it, okay? So whatever you're doing, though, if it is career-wise, okay, it's enhancing your ability to earn more money. Okay, so that, you know, it's not like a really strong transit, but it's helpful. Okay, so on Saturday, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 10th house opposes the planet Uranus transiting in your 4th house of Taurus. So this is like the unexpected communication or unexpected conversation or saying something, especially in public or in a public place. Like if you're out, okay, your 4th house is your home life, your family. This is family, okay? But this is like where you physically live, okay? Your home and the property surrounding it. It's your personal life. The planet Uranus has been here for a while, so there's a little bit of upheaval off and on going on in your home life or with your family. So you could actually be out maybe somewhere in a public place and get into a bit of an argument with a family member. Or you don't have to be out in, you know, you could be at home and something like this occurs. You could start off in a normal conversation with them and end up in a screaming match with whomever, okay? But what this transit is unexpected and unintended communications. You're saying something you never intended on saying, you know? It just blurts itself out. But maybe it's the truth, and maybe it's something that you've been wanting to say, you know? But, you know, that's something to just, like, keep in mind, okay? Maybe it was necessary. Okay, so for Pisces, on Wednesday, November 10th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 9th house. Okay, conjuncts Mars in Scorpio in your 9th house. And again on this day, Mercury in Scorpio squares Saturn transiting in Aquarius in your 12th house. And also on this day, Mars in Scorpio in your 9th house also squares that Saturn in Aquarius in your 12th house. So your 9th house is big communication and travel house. And foreign anything, foreign people, people who live in another country, their culture, foreign travel, language. This is the house of higher learning and knowledge, your religious and spiritual beliefs, your opinions, your philosophy on life, all kinds of stuff. This is the house of adventure. Okay, I've mentioned many times here that you are more than likely in contact with someone. It's either somebody you work with or someone you're related to, possibly through marriage. It's somebody sometimes that you can't get away from, okay? That's why I said about marriage or somebody you work with, no matter how you try to avoid them. A lot of times this is like when, you know, like I've mentioned before, you don't see eye to eye with this person, but you kind of keep it to yourself out of possibly respect or just trying to be nice or keep the peace or something or other. But this is one of those days where you're not really going to do anything like that. This is also the house of legal matters, publishing and media. Mercury conjunct Mars in this area brings about this communication of some kind. That's Mercury is communicating about Mars, which is the ego planet. It's the self. It's the me planet. So you may be having a discussion with someone or informing someone or letting them know something or other about your views on anything, where you stand on, let's say, even politics and religion, like something really taboo, you know, that topics of conversation that maybe you don't always have with people, but boy, today you're in the mood to really let it rip, because you feel possibly, you know, that someone really needs to know these things, how you actually feel about a lot of whatever, but your opinions, like I said, your opinions and your beliefs on just about anything. As far as legal matters go, though, this could be a day where, you know, someone, you get some kind of communication that begins on this day, okay, ends up on Saturday, so I'll get to that in a minute. But it's just really a transit of putting people or putting someone in their place or letting them know exactly where you stand on something. Also, this being the house of higher learning and knowledge, you may actually be like smarter even on certain subjects in regards to, let's say, someone else. It could be anyone, but it could be just someone you're dealing with, maybe possibly even socially, okay? But this is one of those days where you're not really backing down. You're you know, like being yourself, more or less, but you're really if you have to, you are putting someone in their place by letting them know all of your accomplishments. You know, if you did go to, you know, university, college, whatever, you're letting them know that, where you went, how many years, just anything about your background, your culture. You're really, you know, you're really just standing up for yourself, okay? On Friday, November 12th, the Sun in Scorpio in your 9th house trines Neptune, transiting in your 1st house of Pisces. So I'd have to say on this day, you're really like patting yourself on the back for that whole schmeal from Wednesday, or someone else's even. You know, someone is possibly even like, you know, telling you, you know, that was a very good thing that you did on that day, okay? Now, on Saturday, though, November 13th, Mercury in Scorpio in your 9th house opposes the planet Uranus, transiting in Taurus in your 3rd house. So these are the 9th and 3rd house directly across from each other, with Mercury being the big communicator here, right? opposing the planet Uranus, which governs sudden and unexpected occurrences. So I'd have to say this is a communication of some kind, totally out of the blue. Usually with these two planets together, though, it is someone saying something they had not planned on saying, just blurting it out, finally getting something off their chest. These houses are communication houses, such as like phone call, voicemail, text message, email, regular postal mail even. Okay, so you could even hear from someone, you know, or you could send something or even leave a message for someone who lives at a distance. Okay, because 9th house is long distance, 3rd house is local. Okay, they're both travel and communication houses. So it's local travel, long distance travel, and communication. So it could be something like that. Or you could be like, you could be on the receiving end, or just some bizarre like voicemail or something. Or you could even get something in the regular postal mail and wonder, what the hell was this all about? Even if it's just like a little note from somebody, you know, whatever. But that's, you just have to keep in mind, it's an unexpected communication that was not planned, okay? More than likely coming from you. Okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed their astrological forecast for this week. Be sure to check out my monthly forecast. Remember to subscribe and hit that little bell there for notifications. You'll be notified each time I upload something. Okay, so I'll see you next week. Goodbye.